I'm here with Brendan Devane, the writer and director of The Sound, a mountain climbing thriller, I guess we'll say. Leave it as vague as possible. But yeah, this is a really cool movie. And what got this going?
As a filmmaker, you're always looking for inspiration in places, right? I've got a whole notebook of film ideas. Some of them cost $200 million, some of them cost less. So you're always looking for inspiration. And this kind of came twofold. My previous project, I was working with Lucasfilm and Skywalker Sound, and I live in Vegas now, and I was driving back from California, and it just popped in my head about maybe having, what if the villain existed as a sound wave? Might be cool. So that kind of filed that. And then after watching the great documentary Free Solo with Alex Honnold, which I thought was amazing, I read a review of that where someone called it the best horror movie they'd ever seen. And it just sparked a little light bulb that, oh, that's scary to a lot of people. Heights, I'm a climber, so heights isn't particularly scary for me. So it just kind of was a light bulb of maybe if we did like a horror thing on the side of a big wall, it'll just ratchet up the tension for during the film. So I just married those two ideas, and my elevator pitch was Free Solo times The Thing. And yeah, that's how kind of the ball started rolling.
Yeah. And then I love the cast in this. Willem Fichtner and then Kyle Gass even shows up, which I was like, is that's not Kyle Gass? And then sure enough, it was. But
Yeah.
also mentioned Alex Honnold, and he's in this as well. What was it like putting this together and then what was it like shooting? Because there's parts where it's, oh yeah, you actually got people on the mountains, and there's other parts where probably cheated it a bit, but just shooting just in general, what was that like?
We are Las Vegas based, and we shot almost all this in Las Vegas. Alex does live here in Las Vegas, so it made sense to try to bring in the world's most visible rock climber to the projects. And so we were very happy that he thought it was cool and was available for it. Excuse me. As far as like the shooting goes, yeah, that's a problem because your regular Hollywood production crew isn't going to go anywhere near big walls and shoot 1,000 feet in the air. Of course, SAG isn't also going to let you stick their actors 1,000 feet in the air. So we basically made two.
Unless they're Tom Cruise, and for
Well,
some
yeah,
reason.
he had to start his own insurance company to work itself on those things. But yeah, unless you're Tom Cruise. So I basically made two movies at once, one with professional rock climbers and a professional rock climbing crew to go up on these walls safely, and then with actors and a professional Hollywood style production crew inside. We actually shot on an LED volume stage with the actors. Yeah, we did the actors inside where we could be all safe and can control the weather and lighting and things like that. But then we actually spent days outside at this big wall up in Washington State called Liberty Bell with professional climbers and professional riggers and stuff and getting those shots because I wanted to definitely it was important to me to make sure that people saw real authentic climbing in the film, at least really good drone shots and above shots where people can see that they were 1,000 feet in the air.
What's it like booking time for the volume? Because I just assumed that was like a Disney thing. Nope, we're only shooting Star Wars is here.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult and expensive. And when I first was on pre-production on the project, I didn't think that we could shoot in a volume stage. We were going to shoot outside up in northern Nevada at this one location, not putting people up high in the air. There's ways to cheat camera angles and stuff like that to make them look like they were high in the air. But it was going to be outside. And then our DP, Ryan Galvin, mentioned that here in Vegas, there is one LED volume stage, and we just started talking to them and they cut us a really good deal to shoot it here. So I'm very happy and fortunate that we had a local stage here in Vegas that was willing to work within our budget.
Another thing I noticed, I didn't notice while I was watching, but just afterwards, the James Iha did the music for this. And
Yeah.
I since looked him up and I'm like, I guess he's been doing that for a while. I had no idea. I was a huge Smashing Pumpkins fan, but just to see that he was a composer of this kind of blew my mind.
Yeah, James, I'm solid Generation X. I was at the first Lollapalooza and the second Lollapalooza and all that stuff, and certainly very familiar with the Smashing Pumpkins. And James is a really great guy and has been branching out into scores and soundtracks for TV and some other independent films lately. And he's a huge Thing fan, which this film was partly inspired by. And so he was really interested in the project. And yeah, all the original score was composed and performed by James in his studio in LA, and there's some cool grooves in there. So we were very happy to have James with the project.
That how with the score, like I don't know what your musical background is, but you just hand off the score, they bring it to you and go, looks good, or is there any sort of collaboration you get to do along with that?
Me personally, I've got a whole music studio behind me that I do for fun. I used to be, sorry, my dog's bringing a squeaky toy over. I used to be a roadie for bands and stuff like that back in my younger days, and so very connected to the music scene. As far as working with scores and the talent who does them, you definitely exchange ideas. We go through what's called a spotting session where we watch the film together and I'm pointing out parts of just, hey, at this particular scene, we want to feel this emotion, or this scene, we want to feel this. I'm also a big fan of letting talented people do their work. And I'm not a talented musician like James. So it's more about just telling him like the feelings and the emotions we want each scene to evoke, and then let him use his musical genius to provide that music. There's passes, right? You get, here's the first 30 minutes, and you go through and you look at it and you give them notes, but maybe change this up, maybe something here. But yeah, it is definitely a very collaborative process to get the score together.
Yeah, and I don't quite got the release date on this. What I found was the June 27th. Is that when this is
Correct.
coming out?
Yep. It'll be in theaters and on VOD. It's the same day. So Apple, Prime, Fandango, and it'll be in, I think, 10 or 11 cities around the country as far as theaters.
Yeah, much like the movie I watched, Fall. I know you said you don't, that stuff doesn't freak you out, but I watch it. I'm like, they're gonna get a little bit of vertigo watching that and The Fall as well.
Oh, Fall did extremely well. Sorry, that if I hope to do just 10% of the business that Fall did, they were getting second, I think a second sequel and a third sequel. And yeah, you definitely try to bring that height, that vertigo sense to people to give a little bit extra scare with it for sure.
Yeah. I also want to get a movie recommendation from you. Just something that's either personal to you or something that's lesser seen. This is really good. No one talks about it.
What genre? Because I watch a lot of different genres of movies.
It's up to you. You can give me a couple if you got it.
Like old movies or recent releases, because I'm a sucker for watching old movies. Let me think here. It's put me on the spot. I would recommend people go back and watch Friday the 13th Part 2. I think it's the scariest one, and I think it's the most overlooked out of the whole sequence before Jason gets really crazy and he becomes some superheroes in it, and the kills are like, for comedy speaking. I recommend people go back and watch. I think it was released in 81 or 82, but he's more of a normal human person. He can be hurt. He's before his hockey mask, so he just has his pillow over his pillowcase on his head, and it's very scary. So that's what I was.
All right. Yeah, that's a really good pick. You don't hear Friday the 13th two. You hear Friday the 13th and then three on, but two is the one that seems to be lost in the shuffle for some reason.
And it's because he doesn't have his hockey mask on that one.
But
So I think people overlook that one, but they shouldn't. Don't sleep on Friday the 13th Part 2.
yeah. Brendan, thanks for joining me, and congratulations on the sound, and hope it does well.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. For more movie and television reviews and interviews, please subscribe to my Deepest Dream channel. Like, comment, share, subscribe. And as always, thanks so much for your support. Take care.